You've heard it before. Just wake up earlier, Mom, and you'll have so much extra time to get things done. 5 a.m. club, everyone. Some influencer with no kids or has a nanny or a partner who does 50% of the mental load is telling you that the secret to having your life put together is setting an alarm for 4:45 every morning. And listen, if the 5 a.m. club works for you, I'm not here to take your membership away. But for most moms that I work with, that advice isn't a morning routine, it's a guilt trip. And today we're going to break down why waking up earlier is one of the most damaging pieces of productivity advice out there. And I'm going to give you a way to replace that with something that actually works because it gives you the flexibility to fit your life inside it instead of it demanding your life to bend to fit it. Welcome to the Balance It Method podcast. If you're a working mom juggling a career, kids, housework, a social life, and endless piles of laundry, then you are in the right place, my friend. I'm Tamara, a mom, business owner, and your balanced living bestie. Each week, we will discuss simple, practical ways to better manage your time and energy so you can get things checked off that to-do list without burning yourself out in the process. If you're ready to take off that busy badge of honor and finally take control over life's chaos, then let's take this journey together as we learn how to balance it. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Balance It Method podcast. I'm your host, Tamara, and if you're new around here, welcome, my friend. This is the place where us working moms are coming together to talk about all the things that we have on our to-do list, and we're going to figure out ways that we can get them done with less stress and less overwhelm so that we can check them off the list and have some time to relax or some free time to spend with the people that we're doing all the things for. Now, I know today's topic is going to hit home for a lot of people, and there's probably going to be some very strong opinions, either agreeing with what I'm saying or completely disagreeing with what I'm saying. Because typically the standard advice for how to fit everything into a day for a busy mom who's got work and kids and extracurricular activities and a social life and all sorts of things going on that she's juggling throughout the day. Typically, the advice we hear is just get up earlier. Then you have more hours in the day, right? It kind of logistically makes sense. You have more time if you get up earlier to start doing things. And so we try that. We try the 5 a.m. club thing where you have to get up and work out really hard for 20 minutes or something like that. And it's literally actually the 5 a.m. club is 20 minutes of working out and then 20 minutes of mental health building and 20 minutes of something else, emotional health building, something like that, which that's beneficial. But who in their right mind has that amount of time? Even if you do get up at 5 a.m., what time do your kids get up? Quite honestly, because I do not, even if I got up at 5 a.m., I would not have 60 minutes to spend on a routine for myself. And that's really the number one reason why this advice fails for working moms, because it's not taking into account the fact that you might get interrupted during that time. You might have not slept the night before because you have a sick kid, or maybe you have really little kids who are still waking up for feedings in the nights, or maybe you have, a little one that has nightmares or something that wakes up in the night, or just you're at that time in your life where sleep is really hard and 3 a.m. comes around and you're wide awake laying in your bed. And what are you supposed to do then? Are you supposed to get up at 3 a.m.? Because let me tell you, I've tried that. And by 9 a.m., I'm exhausted and I still have to go to work. The other problem that I have with this get up earlier and be productive thing is, yes, you may be able to get a bunch of stuff done, but what you're missing is that time for yourself, because you're going to spend the entire day still doing shit for other people. It's just going to happen that way. And so why not, if you're getting up earlier, why not take that time for yourself instead, where nobody needs you for 5 minutes, hopefully, and you can actually focus on how you feel and how you want to enter that day, instead of just jumping out of bed and hitting the ground running. Doing more, my friends, is never going to make you feel like you have it all together. It may seem like that is the solution to the problem, but it is absolutely not. You need that time for yourself. You need that space to get your head in the game for the day. And so when I am creating a morning ritual for one of my clients, helping them to put together something flexible to fit their lives, I never tell them what time they need to get up. That we have to take into account what our individual needs are. So for myself, oftentimes my morning looks like me getting out of bed about 15 minutes before my kid gets up. And that is the time that I use to sit and have a cup of coffee and just kind of reflect on yesterday or on what I want to happen for this day so that I can be mentally prepared when his feet hit the ground and I am now in a service role. In my personal opinion, a morning routine's only job is to support what you need for that day. And when I say a morning routine, for anybody that's been here for any amount of time, you know that I don't call it a morning routine because it's not routine. It doesn't always happen at the same time every day. It doesn't always consist of the same things over and over again. We often use a menu, which I'll talk about shortly, of things that we are going to feel supported by to choose something off of that list to be able to do in the amount of time that we have in the morning for ourselves. In the Balance It method, we call it a morning ritual because it is very much a ritualistic thing. And when I say that, I don't mean that it's repetitive. I mean that it is something that we are doing for ourselves. And quite frankly, sometimes when we're deciding what we need from a morning ritual, sometimes that is more sleep, right? If you've got those little ones at home that are waking up through the night, or you're waking up in the middle of the night because of whatever reason, and you're trying to get up even 10 minutes earlier than your kid just to have that time alone, what might be more supportive in that time is to stay in bed and sleep longer. This is something you really have to be honest with yourself to understand what you need, because at times there are going to be times that you just want to stay in bed for the sake of not getting up because not because you're still tired or you didn't get a good night's sleep. It feels good to stay laying down. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But sometimes that can mean that you're falling back into a pattern that you're trying to break. And if you're really wanting to work on any sort of like personal growth or anything, then I suggest having some options that you look forward to doing during that time so that you don't fall back into those patterns. And that's why I like to make a morning menu of things that I can choose that are going to support me for whatever I might need. So this is how you can create a morning menu for yourself and maybe just pick one or two things off of that to get started with as a morning ritual. So your first step is you're going to grab a piece of paper and you're going to make 4 columns. So you can just divide the paper into 4 sections. And at the top of each section, you're going to title them physical needs, emotional needs, mental needs, and spiritual needs. Now, some of you may not identify with the spiritual needs. That's totally fine. You can leave that section blank. But many of you will identify heavily with the spiritual needs column, so we put it in there for everyone. And now you're going to do a brain dump for each section of different things that you could do for yourself in the mornings that fall under each of those categories. So under the physical, it's the body stuff. Maybe it does mean extra sleep. You could put that on there. Maybe it means stretching or movement, a walk outside, maybe drinking water before you have your coffee, something that you know that would be physically supportive for you. And something that's really simple. You don't have to edit right now. You can just brain dump whatever comes to mind in these categories. Next, we have the emotional. So this is our heart stuff, our journaling, maybe sending a voice note to a friend, maybe just sitting with your coffee and letting yourself feel whatever you're feeling before the day starts demanding what it's going to demand from you. This is one of my favorite things to do, is just to kind of sit and look out the window with my coffee and just sort of have that time for my brain to unplug from the to-dos and just have, I don't even really know what to describe my brain is doing during this time. It's really not doing anything productive, but it just feels really good to do nothing. And then in the mental category, this is the mind stuff. This might be reading something. This might be a few minutes of quiet planning, going over your day. This might include like doing a crossword puzzle, or maybe you have a physical puzzle that you're working on. That might be something that you enjoy. What I will say about those mind puzzles, try to avoid ones that are on your phone, because we really don't want to be picking that device up first thing in the morning. We kind of want to have that tucked away until our day has to start demanding things from us. So if you can, try and do mental puzzle things that are on paper. And then in our spiritual column, we can put things like meditation or prayer, or maybe you are doing a Bible study of some kind. Maybe you have a gratitude practice. These are anything that makes you feel reconnected to something bigger than yourself and something much bigger than your to-do list. Your next step is to sort each category by its energy cost, or each item in your category by energy cost. So within each of those 4 categories, some items are going to take 2 minutes, some are going to take 20. So you need to be a little more adding detail in here about what that is going to look like in a morning for you, what that step could look like in your morning. And you can even just give them like a loose label, like this is a quick thing I could do, this one's easy, this one takes medium effort, that sort of thing. And then you can go through your list after you've created all of these things and decided which ones are easy, medium, hard, that kind of thing. You can go through and take the things off that really feel like they would be impossible for you. So just cross them off. And that doesn't mean that they're crossed off forever. This might just be the season that you're in, that this is not possible right now. So we take those off of the list, and what we're left with is a menu of items that could support us. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, perhaps you can pull out that menu and pick one of those supportive things based on what you feel you might need that day. Maybe tomorrow you wake up and you feel like, oh, I'm a bit stiff this morning. Maybe I should choose to do some stretching off this menu. Or maybe you didn't get that great of a night's sleep and you're going to choose to either sit quietly at the window with your coffee, or maybe you're deciding to stay in bed for a little while longer. And the reason that I like this whole menu thing as a place to start with creating a morning ritual is because some of us don't know what we like doing. We've been thinking so much about other people and how to serve them that oftentimes in motherhood we lose the identity of ourselves and what we enjoy. And so having that menu and being able to select things off of it and try them out will then give you an idea of, okay, I really like doing this in the morning. I really like sitting with my coffee and reading a couple pages out of a book. Maybe that's all the time you have to do to get that done in the morning. And so you don't maybe know that about yourself yet. And so giving it a try will then allow you to put this ritual together to create a more cohesive morning experience for yourself. And also, I really like this because it's not a rigid system, right? It's not something, oh, I have to get up at this time and do this thing. And then it sort of becomes something that you dread doing or that you just don't do because you don't want to do it. The menu isn't a system that can break because there was never only one right answer to begin with. Having a bad night's sleep the night before doesn't mean that you are going to fail at your morning routine the next day, right? It just means you're going to order something different off the menu in the morning. So here's your homework, my friends, if you want to take it. Sometime this week, sit down and take those 10 minutes and build out your morning menu. Go through the steps that we just went through. Or even more simply, a way to get started is tomorrow morning, before you even get to making this menu, before you reach for your phone in the morning, ask yourself this one question. What am I actually depleted in right now? That one simple pause of thinking about something you need before reaching for your cell phone or whatever thing you might do first thing in the morning can allow you the space to make an intentional decision. And we really like intentional decisions around here. Okay, my friends, if this landed for you, I'd love it if you took a screenshot of this episode and maybe shared it to your socials or sent this episode to one of your mom friends who might be struggling in the mornings as well. And as always, make sure you are following the show so that you hear about the next episode when it comes out next week. And I'll see you back here then, guys.